Good morning, honorable members. Let me take this opportunity to welcome all the honorable members in the new year. Compliments to all of you, honorable members. I also wanted to welcome a new member from the Mkhonto Wesizwe Party. And I would like the honorable member to stand up to greet all the members in the House. That's our new member in the committee from MKP. Thank you very much, Honorable. You are more than welcome. Also welcome the Major General Retired Bantu Olumisa, Deputy Minister of the Department. Also welcome the SecDef, and welcome General, Major General Mnisi, and the delegation from the department. Also take this opportunity to welcome all the officers and general presence here, including the support staff from both the Minister's office and the office of the Portfolio Committee and Parliament, and also welcome the Parliamentary Legal Services, the delegation led by our legal eagle, Van Breda, present here also. You are all welcome, and would like to send our compliments to you for the new year. We hope that this year will be a productive year, especially that today we are starting with two of our bills that we have to do. But I think in the program there's just going to be a slight change from the request that was made. We have two of the apologies that I need to pronounce myself. The Chief Whip is also a member of the ADO committee that is led by Honorable Lekhanyani. She's attending, so we have agreed that we can release her when she has to go to that other side of the committee. The Deputy Minister has also made an apology that he would like to leave the meeting as early as 11 o'clock. So we said that we'll start with items that involves him on behalf of the executive to give an update to the Portfolio Committee on the work they've been doing, in particular responses to questions we have raised, including just to update the Portfolio Committee on the timelines of the Board of Inquiry, as well as the terms of references or any other information that he may have that will help the Portfolio Committee to be up to date and on the developments regarding the BOI. So I will give over to the Secretariat to deal with apologies, and then immediately after that we'll deal with the adoption of the agenda.
Thank you, Chair. And we've received two apologies, one from the Minister and the second one from the Deputy Minister. Thank you, Chair.
Which Deputy Minister?
Deputy Minister Mkhongo, Chair.
Oh, okay. All right, those are the apologies. They will include the one of the Deputy Minister to leave early, as well as the Chief Whip. I think those are the apologies we have received. Can we, let me just read the agenda. We will deal with item number 4 as item number 3. Then that one of the presentation, it will go on just with the taking of the Portfolio Committee into confidence about the developments of the Board of Inquiry. Then the agenda will follow the sequence that it has. We thought that we must bring up the items that involves the executive because the representative of the executive, Honorable Olumisa, is going to leave the meeting very early because of other commitments, and we agreed to grant him. Yeah, the DDM we agreed to grant him. So can we get, Honorable Leate and Honorable Niels, over to you.
No, I would propose that we accept the agenda as presented, but I've got an urgent question of importance, something that stood over from the previous meeting that I would like to put while General Holomisa is still here. It stands over from the previous meeting. Please. Can I proceed?
Yes, you can proceed. Can you speak to the mic? Because
Oh, well, I'm
for the
trying to-
record.
I'm trying to. Let's do this. I want to see you and the mic simultaneously. Chair,
No problem.
Chair, during our previous meeting in the same room on the 5th of December, the question came up of the position of the chief of the SANDF, seeing that he reached the extended retirement age of 65 in November. Then there was an objection to the question by the other Deputy Minister, but Deputy Minister Holomisa undertook to get clarity on the issue. Now, I know that Parliament has not been informed by the Commander-in-Chief, the President, of the continuation of the Chief of the SANDF after his extended retirement date. So the question came then up, who is in charge of the SANDF, which is crucial to Parliament to know in our oversight role. So I'm sure that Deputy Minister General Holomisa did find out, and we haven't received anything in writing, so I would like him to perhaps respond to that question that's outstanding since December before he leaves. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, so I'm sure, Honorable Olumisa, we received a memo from the department that you are responsible for matters of the National Defense Force, and Honorable Mukong is responsible for matters of the military veterans. So you are better placed to can update the portfolio committee in terms of that particular aspect. So Honorable Adam moved. Honorable Niels?
Yeah, I'm not yet moving, Chair. Two issues. On the matter of apologies, can we please get the reasons that have been provided by the Minister and the Deputy Minister for their absence? I don't think we should just accept apologies without being provided the reasons why they are not at these important meetings. And then, Chair, I would like to add a further item to the agenda, and it's really a procedural matter. It deals with statements that you have made concerning certain matters, among them also the issue of Iran and its participation in the naval exercises during the recess period. And I think as a committee, we should procedurally discuss when such comments are made, to what extent it reflects the position of the committee, especially when it has not been discussed by the committee, or to what extent it reflects your personal view. So if we can have that discussion, I would say under item 6, I will appreciate it. With those amendments, I'm prepared to move for the agenda to be adopted, Chair.
Thank you very much. No problem. Honorable Whip.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. Greetings to you, greetings to the honourable members, greetings to the Deputy Minister, together with the departmental officials and everyone present to this meeting. Chairperson, I want to second the adoption, but also the issues that have been raised by Honourable Carl, and that we get a written report so that we can tackle those issues, because something that will ambush a person with a report can say anything. But if we have a written report on the issues that Honorable Carl is raising, I'm agreeing with him, so that in our next sitting, we get that written response on the issues, so that we don't discuss them now. Thank you. Otherwise, I'm agreeing with that amendment, with the agenda. Thank you.
Honorable Niels. There's
Yes,
a
Honourable
proposal.
Chair, it's really not an issue where I want us to discuss the content. So obviously, if I understood correctly, you've asked the Deputy Minister to provide us with an update on the Board of Inquiry. I'm not dealing with content. I'm just dealing with a principle on how we deal with these issues during times when we are not in session and you make statements, which I understand. You receive calls from the media. How we interpret that and how that is then interpreted with regards to the positions of us as various members of this Portfolio Committee on Defence and Military Veterans, who obviously also have our own positions with regards to the positions held by our political parties. So it's a matter of procedure. That's why I called it a procedural issue, not a content issue that we need to discuss that content. I understand what our whip is saying, that we need to get a detailed report in order to have the detailed information, and as soon as possible that we get that, the better. Hopefully we'll hear something from the Deputy Minister today, and hopefully soon we will have a full and detailed report. Thank you, Chair.
No problem, Honorable Niels. I think from my side as the chair, I'll give a full report, detailed, including my work according to the rules of Parliament, including powers I'm granted by rules of Parliament. I will make it very clear why I spoke on the matter and supported that we can only discuss it once the Board of Inquiry has concluded its business. Nevertheless, I will now allow item number 4 in the old agenda, which deals with the presentation of the DOD on the BRRR, including the responses to questions asked. I'll hand over to Honorable Holomisa. Honorable Holomisa, can you switch on the mic? Just for the record of the proceedings. There's a recording.
Apology. I've been delegated by the Minister of Defense and Military Veterans, Honorable Motshekga, to be in attendance today as she is still mourning the passing of her mother. And I wish to assure the committee that all matters discussed during this session will be reported back to her in full, as we normally do. We reconvene in the new year with confidence that all commitments made to this committee have been fulfilled. The required submissions have been filed, and our parliamentary liaison officers have ensured that we are in full compliance with the request of the Portfolio Committee. Today's engagement will cover, among others, the Defence Amendment Bill of 2025, which seeks to give effect to the Constitutional Court ruling amending Section 101 and 102 of the Defence Act, and introducing Section 102A in order to safeguard the independence of military judges. Chairperson, while there remain many issues to address within the department and the broader defense environment, it is the shared sense of commitment between the executive, the department, and this committee that will enable us to move forward in a constructive and purposeful manner. Finally, as leader of the delegation, I will now hand over to the officials to take honorable members through the respective presentations and submissions. I thank you, Honorable Chair.
Thank you very much. In that order as requested by the head of the delegation.
Good morning, Honorable Chair, and good morning, honorable members of the committee. Please allow me, Chair, to proceed with the presentation on the BRRR under the direction of the leader of our delegation, Deputy Minister, as well as the Secretary for Defense. We have on the slide at the present moment the presentation that we'd like to do. And the purpose of this presentation, by and large, is to give the Department of Defense response to the recommendations that were adopted by the committee, PCD, in the context of the BRRR during the course of last year. The structure of the presentation, as already submitted to Parliament in the previous days, covers, on the one hand, it reflects on the 11 recommendations that were adopted by this committee. But on the right of the presentation, we reflect on the Department of Defense responses to those recommendations, as well as providing the committee with the considerations of the Department of Defense in respect of those particular recommendations. Having said that, I would like then to start by the first recommendation by the committee. And also, as I do so, I would immediately talk about the Department of Defense response to that recommendation. The first recommendation that was made by the committee concerns the engagement between the Department of Defense, the AGSA, as well as the State Security Agency regarding the issue of enabling the work of the Auditor General in respect of the Special Defense Account. So we have understood this recommendation very well. And the Department of Defense response to that recommendation is that the Department of Defense at this stage is waiting for the outcome of engagement between the PCD, this committee, as well as the Joint Standing Committee on Intelligence regarding this issue. And once the outcome of that engagement becomes visible to the department, it will be implemented by the department under the direction of the executive authority. But at the same time, that will be in liaison with the Minister of State Security, because the issue will concern the two ministries. Regarding the second recommendation by the committee had called for an arrangement of a closed session for discussion of policy documentation that has been generated by the Department of Defense as policy framework. And we have said last year that this work has been submitted to the Secretariat of the National Security Council. And that was done during the course of last year. So the committee wanted then to have an arrangement of a closed session. As a response to that, the department is indicating that, of course, the department is ready and willing to make a presentation of this documentation, of course, in a closed session, because we consider that some of the contents of this documentation would require to be protected at the stage until further notice. The Joint Standing Committee on Defense program that has been issued at the start of a few weeks ago had invited Defense Department to come and make this presentation on the 20th of February 2025, or 2026, my apologies. But the department considers this date to be not feasible for us, largely because Defense Department will be hosting the Armed Forces Day in Thohoyandou in Limpopo on the 21st of February. And as such, then there's a whole lot of preparatory work that we have to do in the run-up to that. And as a consequence of that, the date of the 20th of February would not be suitable. But of course, we are engaging with the Joint Standing Committee on Defense to try to identify a suitable date that will accommodate all parties concerned. With respect to recommendation number 3, it concerns the Department of Defense was directed to actually submit a credible asset register to the AGSA, Auditor General of South Africa, for purposes of enabling their audit work. And Department of Defense therefore confirms that we have indeed submitted this asset register towards the end of last year to the AG. And the work of the AG for this forthcoming audit would, amongst others, include the assessment of the status of the asset register. With respect to recommendation number 4, that relates to the displeasure that was expressed by this committee regarding what we had come to be described as an acceptable lack of basic equipment for soldiers, especially those who are deployed. And I think the items that were identified as critical for the military would include issues of clothing, protective gear, as well as serviceable vehicles. And we have considered this recommendation by the committee, and of course the department aligns with this recommendation, and accordingly we have identified and tried to reprioritize available funding within the department to allocate towards the absolute essentials of our deployed forces. And we consider that there are various categories of equipment that is required for that, and we are outlining those on the presentation, but they include, amongst others, issues of related to force preparation right up to mission sustainment. And in that regard, the department has allocated 64 million rands to the Chief of Logistics to facilitate the procurement of the items that have been identified as critical to support the border safeguarding optimization plan that we consider to be at the forefront of our current efforts. And of course, then, as part of that allocation, some of the items have already been procured and delivered, but some of them are still in the procurement phase. And we are also on the presentation towards the end of that, indicating some of the items that are currently under a procurement, and we consider this to be very important indeed. But the second slide, or the slide following that, actually details the status of the procurement process. I am not going to detail that. In the text that was submitted to the committee, this information is visible. Safe to say that the procurement process is at various stages, and we are detailing those stages in this submission. But also we are indicating that quite a number of flak jackets with bulletproofs have been delivered, as well as storage containers. And we consider that all these items, including those that are currently in the procurement phase, will help us to move closer to creating a situation where our military members are indeed supported in terms of equipment, as well as necessary paraphernalia for their work. Recommendation number 5 relates to the audit findings that were made by the Auditor General in respect of Project Tusano, as well as concerns that were raised regarding Project Hala. And members of the committee would recall that the findings of the AG had actually found certain elements of these projects to be coming short of the standard of regularity insofar as financial expenditure is concerned. And the recommendation calls for the department to identify and indicate to the committee the course of action it seeks to adopt to address this issue, as well as reverse some of the negative trends associated with this project. As a response to this recommendation, the department actually notes, of course, and we have seen the findings of the AG, which we have accepted, of course, as part of the audit process. But in response to that, the department has currently put in place what we call the corrective action. The corrective action entails a comprehensive review of the contractual arrangements under the project HALA as it is currently happening. And the comprehensive review would, amongst others, include an assessment of the findings in a very detailed manner, as well as try to test whether some of the contractual elements of the contract are indeed in order. And we anticipate that this comprehensive review will be concluded during the course of March 2026. But at that stage then, we foresee that there are possibilities that can actually flow from this comprehensive review. Some of those possibilities include taking a remedial action on some aspects of the project, that certain elements of the project may have to be suspended, and some of them may have to be subjected to approval and regularization as necessary, and some of them may be terminated on the basis of the outcome of that, or there could be a need for a renegotiation of some elements of that. But all these possibilities are possibilities that the department will entertain once the comprehensive review has run its course and concluded. And all those possibilities then will be assessed and validated against the metrics of legal compliance, of risk assessment, as well as compliance considerations. And we consider then that this is what the department is doing. And in due course, then we'll come back to Parliament and update the Parliament about the outcome of the review, as well as some of the elements that we are putting to address, or we are negotiating as necessary. Recommendation 6 of the committee requires the Minister of Defense as well as the Chief of the SANDF to provide this committee with a consequence management action plan, of course related to the 1.5 billion rand spent on Project Tusano, which was the subject of the audit finding by the AGSA. Our reaction to this recommendation is that we link this to what I've said in recommendation number 5, where we are saying, on the basis of the outcome of the project review, the department would roll out consequence management, and that consequence management some of it will be carried through the mechanisms of our Board of Inquiries that will ensure that issues of concern are brought to surface, and the necessary consequences are applied to that. And the department undertakes that all adverse recommendations that are coming out of the boards of inquiries would actually be carried by the department to their logical conclusion, so that we can demonstrate an attitude of accountability to Parliament as well as to all the relevant stakeholders of the Department of Defense. With respect to recommendation number 7, that recommendation had specifically required the Chief of the SANDF to submit a written action plan indicating very clearly how how consequence management is carried through to members of the SANDF, and specifically also wishing to the Chief to indicate what improvements are being conducted to the boards of inquiry, so that this mechanism is actually made to be effective and to deliver on what is expected out of them. Our reaction to this, or our response to this, is to indicate to the committee chair that in November 2025, the department had issued what we call a DoD comprehensive instruction signed off by the Chief of the SANDF as well as the accounting officer of the department. But that comprehensive instruction details the procedure that all services and divisions of the department will have to follow in reporting the actions that are being taken or the work that is being carried out with respect to addressing AGSA findings. And on the basis of that, investigations therefore can be commissioned as necessary. But once we have that procedural framework within which reporting of efforts in this regard is laid out, the better for all service and divisions to conduct their work. But all this work will be conducted under the oversight of the executive authority, the Minister of Defense. And of course, the chief of the SANDF and the accounting officer, the Secretary for Defense, will carry the responsibility to monitor the implementation of these instructions and ensure that it delivers, or all efforts of the department are aligned with the desire to deliver an accountability status of the department. Furthermore, with respect to the boards of inquiries, we accept that some of the board of inquiries have been affected by certain below par or substandard performance. And there's been specific interventions that have been carried out by the department with respect to that. One of them is there's been a review of the curriculum of our legal department or institutions of training under the legal division of the department, and where there is a dedicated now a module on board of inquiries, so that all the military people going through that course will be appraised on how to conduct boards of inquiries, how to establish them, how to operationalize them, and how to ensure that the conclusions of those boards of inquiries are properly written up so that they can enable subsequent action. But secondly, there is a refresher course that is carried out by the Adjutant General, so that all members of the SANDF, as they go through courses, they will always be appraised and refreshed on how to conduct boards of inquiries, so that our boards of inquiries are an institution or a mechanism that is very effective for us to address issues of concern in the department. With respect to recommendation 8, Chair, if I proceed. Recommendation 8 requires the department to provide the committee in writing about the details of Project Zingisa. And our response to that recommendation is that the department considers that Project Zingisa has not yet commenced. Project Zingisa is currently at the phase of conceptualization. Department is still looking at quite a number of considerations in that regard, so that the next course of action that we take or the next steps that we embark upon are indeed predicated on a clear assessment of the objectives as well as the required end state of the project. But we undertake as a department that once this conceptualization has come to an end, and all the feasibility processes have been allowed to unfold, the department will come back to Parliament and update Parliament about Project Zingisa in terms of what it seeks to achieve, what is the scope of it, what are the timelines, what are the costs associated with that. But at this stage, we are not yet in a position to do so, subject to the conclusion of the conceptualization phase, which I've referenced in my earlier statement. Project or recommendation number 9 relates to the department was required by the committee to submit a plan detailing the timelines as well as the funding arrangement for an integrated electronic procurement system as well as an integrated logistics management system. We would like to report then as a department to this committee that we understand this, and I think this integration in our IT system is critical. Critical for us to account, critical for us to ensure that there are efficiencies in the system. And in that regard, we have requested SITA. There's specific tasking letter that has been issued to SITA. And SITA is going to develop a very comprehensive plan then, detailing what could be the steps that could be taken to establish this procurement system or integrated procurement systems. And upon receipt of that plan from logistics, or from SITA, the department then will consider what are the next steps that we can take, so that that which we take as subsequent steps is indeed informed by a thinking process, and we are able to appreciate the cost implications of such systems and their efficiency that they will deliver. With respect to number 10, it's the recommendation number 10. this recommendation had requested the department to provide this committee with a cost breakdown, firstly of the S&T, travel and subsistence costs related to military missions undertaken in the financial year 24-25, as well as S&T that has been dispersed with respect to overseas travel for the same period. On the right of the presentation, we are therefore giving an account of the expenditures in the two categories. With respect to the cost per military missions for the financial year 24-25, the total cost that was incurred by the department is indicated over there as 385 million plus, as indicated over there. But that is broken down into three areas. Into one, Operation Mistral, which was conducted in the DRC, and 853 million. Operation Vikela in Mozambique, at the cost of 43.7 million, as well as Operation Tiba in the DRC, and at the cost of 188 million plus. Regarding the payments for all overseas SANDF overseas travel, we are indicating that the total cost incurred by the department in this endeavor is 134 million rands. And the last one, Chair, is recommendation number 11, where the department was required to provide the committee with an update of outstanding payments for soldiers deployed as part of Operation Tiba. And on the right, we are reacting and providing a response and indicating that there are two categories that we can highlight in response to this recommendation. One, in the area of death benefits, there are 7 outstanding claims. In total, there are 7 in that. These are the members who have unfortunately met death during the operation, and of course, there are some claims associated with that. There are 7 outstanding, but we are detailing here that 2 of them are being processed by the HR division. 1 is still awaiting a letter of execution from the family of the member concerned. 2 claims are submitted to SADC because this was a SADC associated operation, and 2 claims are also awaiting a response from SADC, and we are on constant reminder to SADC regarding these issues. But the last one category is about allowances not yet paid. These are allowances that are due, but I have not yet been paid to the members affected. And we're indicating there that there are 2 claims currently being processed, and these have not yet been paid, and they're about to be concluded. And 5 claims await nomination of beneficiary documentation, simply because for monies to be transferred, we need to be very certain that those who are receiving that are indeed the rightful beneficiaries, and I think the nomination documentation becomes necessary for that. Chair and General Deputy Minister, this concludes the Department of Defense response to the recommendations adopted by this committee under the BRRR during the course of last year. Thank you so much. Please, I request to stand down.
Thank you very much. I will hand back to the DM.
Thank you. What would you like me to say now? Because I've presented what's the next item.
Or what I would like you to say, it's what we earlier agreed on, the issue of update on the BOI, the issue of the update on the status of the Chief of the National Defence Force.
Thank you, Chairperson and honorable members. You will recall that when the issue of a retirement of the Chief of the SANDF, I did respond by saying to this committee that the issue of Mr. Mapanya or General Mapanya would be handled by the President. So the committee is free to communicate with the presidency if it so desires. But we did respond, we did report this matter to the minister because it's not in my purview or under my control. So next time when the minister is here, or we'll remind the minister that she must respond in writing to that question. Or alternatively, this committee, depending on the powers you have, you can direct your question to the president, because a commander of the SANDF is appointed by the president. Thank you. Next item is the issue of the Board of Inquiry. The Board of Inquiry, there is a delay in that the state law advisors have been approached to assist us. In particular, the question of who's got the power to appoint this inquiry. Remember that this is not an ordinary inquiry which we want to conduct. The instruction came from the president of the country. It was given to the minister. It was never given directly to the juniors at the lower level. The Chief of Defense Force, the minister, were given an instruction on this matter which needs to be investigated, which you are all aware. In that case then, a decision had to be taken. Which general would go and take a statement from a minister? Minister is more of a doing a civilian oversight. She's not a soldier. And also this inquiry, if it will have to involve departments like DECO or the presidency, can it be investigated by one of the soldiers? So I think, therefore, we must bear with this delay, in that the state law advisors are going to have the last word on this issue, because there are people who are not necessarily soldiers, but who fall outside the Department of Defense. And those people are very important people in this country. So whether it will be a lieutenant general, retired or serving member investigating this matter, or whether it will be, as suggested by the minister, that it be headed by a judge from outside. So those queries, nitty-gritties, are being worked out by the state law advisors. So I don't have anything to add. It's straightforward. It's just like that, unless you have another suggestion.
Thank you very much. I see members want to ask. I would start with you, Honorable Nyaus, Chief Whip. Oh, you wanted to start? No problem. We can allow the whip to start.
With due respect, Honorable Khan.
Yeah, all right.
Thank you, Honorable Chairperson. I wanted to start with the last two items that the Deputy Minister is talking about. Because to me, when I say something must be written down, because it seems as if we say something as this committee, as this portfolio committee, we're not being taken serious. Because the issue of General Mapanya, who is in his place, because Deputy Minister, when you come here and say you don't know, we must ask the president, and yet you are the political head of that department, together with the minister. We're not being taken serious.
On a point
That's
of order.
why-
On a point of order. Let's have the minutes.
There's a chairperson.
Let's have the minutes of the last meeting, where we said the office of the president must be approached on this matter. But the question is, who should do that? Is this Parliament, this portfolio committee, or the executive of the defense? But don't say we are not taken seriously. The matter has been reported to the minister.
Chairperson,
Yes,
I'm saying that we must have a paper trail of everything that is being said here, because we're going to get that answer up until June, unless we tighten the screws, being this portfolio committee. Otherwise, we're not going to be taken serious. I still maintain that, because we cannot be given an answer that this committee must approach the president. That thing must be written down, seriously. That when we ask about something in the department, they want to tell me that there's no one acting there in the place of General Mapanya. Then as this committee, we should wait for the president. Hence, I'm saying an answer given to us must be in writing. Your office as the chairperson, something that has been asked by us as honorable members, you must write it down and want an answer. Because now, everything that we say it with our mouth, we're going to get the answer, I'm telling you, in April or May or June. Thank you.
okay, Honorable Niels, you'll be followed by Honorable Hala and Honorable Hatti.
Thank you, Chair. I want clarity, and you should rule on this. Are we dealing now specifically with the matters that had been responded to by retired Major General Olumisa, or are we dealing with those issues, and is it expected that we should also raise our concerns about the response that we received from the department on the BRRR? What should we do? Are we dealing simply now with General Olumisa's responses, or should I also include in that the questions and concerns that I have to the BRRR response by the department?
Okay, I think let's deal first with the matters raised by Honorable Olumisa. We'll come back to the BRRR so that we release him, because he requested to be released early.
Thanks, Chair. That is helpful. Let me then deal with those two issues. Chair, I understand the dilemma that retired Major General Olumisa finds himself in. But that dilemma can be alleviated by getting a response from the department on what the position of the president on this issue is. So therefore, I hear that the department has raised the issue, that the deputy minister has raised the issue with the minister, and obviously the minister has to, as a matter of urgency, raise this issue with the president. We can, from our side, also approach the presidency. But it sounds to me as if that is a double question being raised, because the department has said that it is raising this issue through the minister to the president. So I think you should rule, Chair, that we must get an urgent answer from the minister at the next meeting of this committee on the current status of the Chief of the South African National Defence Force. I understand the concern that our whip is expressing, that we should not have undue delays on this matter. I also understand why she is raising it, because we have had many instances where one gets kicked for touch on these issues and it takes months to get an answer. And we are already, in this particular instance, in injury time. The chief of the SANDF is at the moment serving in injury time because he should be retired. And we need that answer ASAP. That's my first comment. On the Board of Inquiry, Chair, I can just throw my hands up in the air. I really do not understand how this board of inquiry was necessary. What I hear is that there's a simple matter that needed to be responded to. A simple answer that could have been provided by the Minister of Defence and Military Veterans. The President gave an instruction. For whatever reasons, that instruction apparently was not carried out. Why was it not carried out? Now we need boards of inquiry to get to a simple matter such as this. And the President instructs the Minister to go through such a process, but the President's own law advisors are not clear on that instruction, because now subsequently the law advisors have to be brought back in to establish whether it is possible for the Minister to appoint such a board of inquiry. This just compounds the disaster that this whole diplomatic mess was. It extends the period of uncertainty and speculation. I'm absolutely flabbergasted by the mismanagement of this whole process, Chair. I repeat again what I've said before in my capacity as a member of the EFF, representing the EFF on these issues. This board of inquiry was unnecessary. It is simply a way of trying to cover up and to cause further confusion in order never to get to the bottom of this issue. There is no board of inquiry necessary in order to get the facts of the matter of what happened in this situation. And I want to put that on record. Furthermore, as we continue with this unmitigated mess, we continue to inflict international diplomatic harm on the name of South Africa, on our own South African National Defence Force and Navy. All of this is being done while this mess perpetuates. It must come to an end. And Chair, what I would like this committee to do is to inform the Deputy Minister as the leader of this delegation what our view is. And I propose that our view is that this matter has been grossly mishandled, that the fact that it is now being referred back to the law advisors because no proper thought had gone into the announcement of this board of inquiry, also from the legal advisors of the President, is unacceptable. In fact, that we don't need a board of inquiry. We simply need the answer. What happened here? It should not take more than 30 minutes to establish all of this and to issue a clear and unequivocal statement that clears this up. Thank you, Chair.
Honorable Hala. No, thanks, Chair. I was going to suggest, Chair, that let's welcome the report, Deputy Minister, but insist that the Minister must come in account for the appointment of this retired or to be retired chief of the SANDF. Thank you. Because Chair, we can't rush to the presidency. Let's exhaust the department first. And if we don't get a clear answer, then we can approach the president. Thank you. Honorable Harte, be followed by Honorable Plakis.
Chair, firstly, let me address the question, who is the chief of the SANDF at this very moment? And it's very, very concerning that even the ministry doesn't know. They don't know. You see, Chair, the retirement age in the SANDF is 60 years old. And no member in the SANDF will receive a check, salary check, in the month after they've become 60. Unless, and this is the discretion of the minister, that term is extended and the maximum age then is 65, or whatever before 65 the minister has decided to extend it to. No member of the SANDF will receive a paycheck in the month after they became 65 if the term of office was indeed extended. So if you don't receive a check, obviously you're not in service. And we don't know. We can get referred to the minister and to the president, but the law stands. The question is, who is in charge, and does he or she get a salary check? We don't know that. And how can you be in the ministry and you don't know who is your most important senior officer? You don't know that. And the facts have been given. We know that the chief SANDF became 65 during November 2025. So, Chair, I share the concerns of the our whip. This is totally unacceptable. Yes, we can, and this is something that we can pick the phone up and ask what's the status. We don't need even the 30 minutes that was mentioned. We need 4 or 5 minutes to determine this. And 2 months has now passed since the question was put. Yes, and now we're going to have this elaborate Army Day festival in Thohoyandou, which appears to be more and more likely to be a departure party for the chief of the SANDF. That's what's going on out there. People are saying. So it's really a concern what is going on, apart from the hundreds of millions that now are going to be spent. Chair, going to the Board of Inquiry. You are right in your statement, Chairperson. It needs 30 minutes. That was echoed by Honourable Niels. That's what we need. We don't need a Board of Inquiry, and I know the legal implications. The one that was announced by the Minister does not comply unless those judges get temporarily incorporated into the SANDF. It doesn't comply. And then there's still the issue that was mentioned by Deputy Minister Holomisa of DIRCO and the presidency. And the whole truth, and nothing but the truth can come out in 20 minutes. Then we know. And the president will know what to do, who to act against. Minister will know. We don't know, we don't need. And the minister said 7 days, 3 weeks ago. 7 days, 3 weeks ago. 7 days it will be finalized. That was 3 weeks ago. So, Chair, kicking for touch will not work. We need the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. It's very important because what's unfolding here is the apparent undermining by the SANDF of civil control over the SANDF, which cannot be tolerated. This is a very urgent issue. And Chair, if we have to reconvene tomorrow to address it, I think most of us will be available because of the very serious importance of the control over the SANDF. There are even mention made in the media that the SANDF is going rogue, which is a serious allegation. But that is what we are being confronted with. So, Chair, I need to know where to from here, and we cannot kick for months again, waiting for questions to Parliament be reopened for the sonar to happen. We need responses now on it, on both these issues. Thank you, Chair.
Honourable Plakis.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, these have been a growing concern since last year, maybe October, November. And I think, General, to be fair to the committee, we've raised this matter of the General in time. And even then, it seems that there's no succession plan. I think Honorable Chris have raised this matter that there was a birthday of 65 that was celebrated. What is happening with the General, with the status of him being 65? And still, Honorable Holomisa, you come and tell us that we must ask this question to the President, which means to say there's no succession plan in the South African Defence Force. There's no intention of replacing the General. Because if there was, there would have been a process plan by now to say that this is the next general that is going to step in from this general. We've also heard that the general is now in the reserve force, is getting salary from the reserve force now. Can we get really clarity on this matter? It's not a laughing matter. It's not a laughing matter, Subtech. It's a serious issue that the country is setting with a general that is supposed to be retired. Tell us that there's an extension now. There's exemption for him. He's now going to work till 70. And after 70, there will be somebody else taking over. Because like the age is there. It's clear for everybody to know. But still, nothing is saying that there is a succession plan. So I really, Deputy Minister, this is a worrying issue, and we cannot get the answer from the President. Whilst in the Department of Defense, there should have been a process plan or a succession plan by the ministry or the Defense Force itself. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, honorable members. I will give back to you, Honorable Olumisa, to respond to members. I would want to make an indulgence to the department. Please help us to arrest the decline of the South African National Defence Force. Because I want you to understand, if a board of inquiry or a department fails to do its work or to respond to us, we have an authority through the rules of parliament to set up an ad hoc committee and summon all of you to come and answer. Now, this breakdown in terms of civilian-military relations, it needs to be helped also so that we together work towards saving the South African National Defence Force. You can dilly-dally around about the board of inquiry. We can make an ad hoc committee. You can dilly-dally around the appointment of the chief of the National Defence Force. We can make an inquiry and summon all of you. Is that what you want? Is that the relationship you want between us and yourselves? Because there are clear laws in this country. Section 200A makes it very clear that we'll have a National Defence Force that is disciplined, that works towards civilian-military relations. So even if I was to be a president of the Republic tomorrow, even without a military background, you will be forced to salute me. That's what that section says. It's a law of the Republic. There is no if or buts between a civilian or a military. We have to cooperate according to the Constitution of the Republic to ensure that this pride, called the National Defence Force, thrives and progresses. So I would request when we deal with this matter that we also align to the point that the Chief Whip has requested, that we get proper written things. The pension schemes and the retirement laws in terms of the South African National Defence Force Act, it's 60, and where there can be a waiver, it's where the minister makes a discretion with the president to appoint a person. And the deadline is 65. Anything beyond 65, it's illegal. So we are lawmakers here. We cannot allow illegality, especially from the Department of Defense, which is supposed to be the pride, the most disciplined department, to disrespect the laws of the Republic. We cannot encourage that. I know one would be an irritation to you, but I don't have to be loved by everybody like money. I must do what I'm required by the oath I've taken of office, to respect the laws of the Republic and international laws, which is what we took in our oath as honorable members. So if it's 65 is the deadline, it ends there. We don't have to negotiate. There is nothing illegal that can be legal. Both the minister and the presidency needs to understand that. We cannot allow it, because then we'll have to open up criminal cases because somebody is acting in a criminal way by not respecting the laws of the Republic. So it's very dangerous. So please help us to improve these civilian-military relations, because it clearly demonstrates that there's a breakdown. And if there's a breakdown, it will mean that it must go and play into the public gallery. Then you will need another Madanga or another ad hoc committee. We don't need that in this particular department. We need to work together and try to resolve our matters without going the route of an ad hoc committee or even the route of a commission. So in my indulgence and request, that's what we basically request from you. We're not bullying you. We're not being dictatorship. We're just requesting as an oversight committee over your work to ensure that these particular relationships are properly mended and properly decorated so that we can work together. We don't have to work and communicate like the way is done in our other force in the South African Police Service, that the whole South African Police Service and all generals are now, we have to account to an ad hoc committee and to a commission. We don't need that in the South African National Defence Force. Please, Honorable DPDM, let me hand over to you.
Chair, we have taken note of what the honorable members are saying, but it's not going to work if we beat about the bush. Let's go straight. This afternoon, this committee must write a formal letter to the Minister of Defense, inviting her to come and explain to the nation, and including to yourselves, obviously, about the issue of the commander of the SANDF. Honorable Hatting, General Mapanya is still the commander of the SANDF. Whether he's technical or not technical, but he is the commander. Whether it's legal or illegal, as far as you are concerned, but he is the commander. Please. So no.
There's a point of order here. Okay.
Chair, we cannot tolerate, sorry, General.
Okay.
We cannot tolerate you as the Deputy Minister saying to us, we don't care. The General is the commander of the SANDF, whether it's legal or illegal.
All
In
right.
that context, you say that illegality is acceptable. We as this committee cannot tolerate that. We object to that statement of yours, and I ask you kindly to withdraw it right now. Thank you.
The commander of the SANDF currently, the person who the minister deals with is Mr. Mapanya. That's technically, let us accept that currently. But there is a query which has been raised by the parliament. I'm saying, write a letter or summon the Minister of Defense to come and explain why this gentleman is still commanding our troops, yet, in terms of the law, should have been at home. That must be the route which must be followed. To come here and explain to, because I don't have powers.
Sorry, Chair, point of order. I understand what Major General Lemisa is saying. I still insist that he should withdraw the previous statement. He is the Commander-in-Chief, whether it's legal or illegal.
Okay.
That must be withdrawn, Chair. Otherwise, this committee cannot proceed under these circumstances.
Okay, I withdraw that statement, but the latter part of my statement, which I've presented to this committee, stands. Whether it's semantics or what, but it stands. So the minister must come here and explain to you similarly, the same to the issue of what this Board of Inquiry. She must come in and engage, then she engages the committee. So at least from Monday, because she's in a morning period, I would say from Monday next week or Tuesday, you can arrange a meeting with the minister to come down here and explain. If I had powers or I sit in this decision making with the presidents and all those big people, I would have told you what is the situation. But I'm not going to guess. That's not my character. Thank you.
Yes, Thank you very much, Honorable DM, for your responses. I think it helps us to get a way forward. We'll then get into the second point. I'll make a ruling at the end of the next discussion.
Just before we step off this point, I would like to know whether the Secretariat has done anything about this inquiring since our last meeting on the 5th of December, and whether there were any responses to this, the question on the, who the chief of the SANDF is and the status.
Honorable DM, can you help us?
No, he's asking about parliamentary secretariat, not us.
Oh,
Do
okay.
your work as well.
All right. No problem. Anything from our side, Doctor?
Chair, there's been no formal inquiry on the matter, but what we could propose is a letter to the President, actually. Because according to the law, Honourable Olemisa stated correctly that the President appoints the Chief of the SANDF. So perhaps an inquiry on both sides to the Minister and the President could procedurally be the way to approach this.
Honorable Niels?
Thank you, Chair. I don't think we should confuse ourselves. I heard a clear answer from the Minister, from the Deputy Minister, saying that we must get the Minister as a matter of urgency here. I believe that there had been a letter or communication gone from the department to the President, to the Minister, to the President on this matter. So we need to get the Minister here to come and present to us the answers that she receives from the President. And I now formally propose that in line with the time frames that we know that the Minister is still in mourning, that we request the Minister to come and meet with our committee as a matter of urgency as soon as possible, any time from next Monday, and provide us with answers on both these issues. On the issue of the continuing involvement of the Chief of the South African National Defence Force, who should have been retired and who's illegally in that position now, and secondly, on the Board of Inquiry. My proposal is, Chair, that if it could be even on Monday, I will be here, and I'm sure other members of this committee will be here to meet with the Minister and get those answers. Thank you.
Okay, I think that helps with the way forward because you are seconding Honorable Holomisa on his initial proposals. So I think that proposal stands. We will write to the Minister as the executive authority. What we can do is to CC the President as the Commander-in-Chief, so that he's also aware of what the committee is discussing on this particular matter. Then I'm sure from there we'll get a way forward from the Minister, because I'm not sure about the mourning period. Normally, in other families, it's 7 days, others is 10, others is 14, others it's a month. So I'm not sure about when will she be back at work, but that will be established once we have written to her. The parliamentary liaison officers are also here, and the office, they will help us in that regard on the issue of the status of the Chief of the South African National Defence Force and the process of the Board of Inquiry, because the proposal that comes very strong from the Portfolio Committee is that rather than going the route of a Board of Inquiry, we would rather get an answer in 30 minutes, which I fully agree, and even members are saying in 4 minutes. I don't like Board of Inquiries. I don't like ad hoc committees. I don't like commission of inquiries. We are all here capable to can do our work, respond to all the questions, and avoid the possibility of the drama of ad hoc committees and commission of inquiries, because here we deal with national security. It does not have to be televised. So we would request that all of us do what the least we could, so that we avoid other alternatives which may put the whole department into a public gallery, because the issue of the Chief of the National Defence Force If any NGO was to take us tomorrow at dawn, or any trade union, will be found wanting on something that we could have avoided. And I would argue, Honorable Dear, that there is nothing illegal that can be legal. On the matter of the number of court actions, the High Court and the Concord were very clear that Parliament, where it has powers in terms of legislation, they must act. Now, we don't want to embarrass the minister. We don't want to embarrass the president as this parliamentary committee. We would want them amicably to help us in dealing with some of these things, because we don't want to end up in commissions and other committees. We are capable. Can somebody listen to somebody? And that's why I'm saying we need to improve our civilian military relations in this country, or else we face a security threat of each other not listening to each other not having mutual respect towards our work and positions and responsibilities. So we are capable. Can we work on that? Honorable DM, I'm happy that you have both civilian and military cap. You can assist to help us build that bridge of a civilian-military relationship, because you can call me a civilian, but I'm an authority in terms of oversight. So whether you talk about your rank, it does not help. I can talk about an ad hoc committee or opening up a criminal case. It's not what we need. Can everybody just bring his side of the work so that there's progress in the National Defence Force? So we'll then move to the second point so that we allow the DM to leave on the BRRR.
Chairperson, may I perhaps just ask a question which is related while we are communicating with the President, please? Chair, we have heard of the disasters in Mozambique, and we have seen reports of SANDF assistance there, and we are very grateful for that. But Chair, there's a constitutional obligation for the President to table in Parliament any foreign deployment, how small or how big it is. I would like to know, Chair, whether you are in possession of such a presidential deployment order. I haven't seen it, and we haven't been informed that it was in fact tabled in Parliament. That's a simple question. It's also yes or no, and if it's then no, are we also then inquiring to the President why it didn't happen?
The answer is no. As official as the portfolio committee, we have not received it, unless it was written to the Secretary of Parliament or to the Speaker of the National Assembly. I'm not sure. We'll have to find out from our side. Yeah. So, can we move to the BRRR to allow the DM to answer and leave? Honorable Niaus?
Thank you, Chair.
All right.
I will deal with the issues that relate to the response by the department on the concerns that we raised in the BRRR. The first issue that I want to raise is this perpetuating situation of policy documentation and presentation of this documentation to us, among them the journey to greatness. We now have had a date which was supposedly going to be the 21st of February of this year. It is again postponed. I cannot emphasize strongly enough, Chair, the urgency of us getting this presentation. And I find it utterly unacceptable that this is delayed again because of the Armed Forces Day, which is an indulgence, a financial indulgence which the South African National Defence Force cannot afford, and now critical work of this committee is being delayed because of that indulgence. I share your views, Chair, that I've seen that you have expressed in the media, that this Armed Forces Day should be cancelled. It is an expense that the South African National Defence Force cannot afford. And we need to understand that in the context of the concerns that we as a committee raised with regards to the questions in our BRRR report. I'm jumping immediately, Chair, to the total S&T cost per military mission for the financial year of 2024-2025. I understand the costs that went to Operation Mistral, Operation Bikela, and Operation Tiba. But I must express my outrage at the S&T payments for SANDF overseas travel, which amounted to 134 million rands. Chair, this department and its main mission is inside this country. This is not the Department of International Relations and Cooperation. The core function of international relations and cooperation would include also overseas travel and work. If we look at the budget of what was spent by the Department of International Relations and Cooperation, it was 180 million. But the South African National Defence Force spent 134 million. It is outrageous, Jay. Most of us who sit in this committee are just back from oversight visits to Saldanha and to Langebaan. We went to the Langebaan Air Force Base. That base is dysfunctional. It is falling apart. It doesn't even have radar. There are the most basic little things that cannot be addressed in that base in terms of the conditions under which soldiers are living and working. I felt, and I'm sure all of us as members of this committee who were there as part of that oversight, felt the pain of those soldiers. We saw them literally in the control tower shaking with emotion and concern about the conditions under which they are working. This department is not serious about using the funds that is allocated to it, Chair. If 134 million can be used for S&T, for payments for overseas travels, there's not simple money to fix a radar system, to fix some of the accommodation problems. Some of us pointed out the electric wires uncovered. It would be a simple process of repair. Doesn't happen. But this kind of funding is utilized by the department. It's unacceptable. Chair, we need to once again understand what is happening with the basic equipment that is providing to our soldiers. The report that you've given is not adequate. You refer specifically to border patrols. You do not refer to the overall equipment available to our soldiers and specifically to operations such as Operation Mistral and others. We need the detail of those deployments and whether those soldiers, if they are going to be deployed and when they are deployed, will have the adequate equipment. We cannot have a repeat of what happened in the DRC. With regards to the Board of Inquiry and the concerns that we raised about boards of inquiry, honestly, is the answer to tell us you are now training people how to deal with boards of inquiry? Shouldn't have that been a general process happening all the time? The issue that we raised was that boards of inquiry are taking far too long and that consequence management with regards to the outcomes of boards of inquiry doesn't happen because we sit with reports of boards of inquiry that take up to 10 years. It's unacceptable, Chair. to get the kind of response that we received. Then on the electronic procurement system, we get once again the same old story. We have approached CETA. Chair, how many times are we approaching CETA? How many times do we kick the ball down the road that it is for CETA now to deal with this matter? These are all issues that we've raised before. And some of the responses that I repeated to you here today, Chair, are the responses that we've been given before by this department. So it looks like a cut and paste job. I don't think we are being taken seriously. I don't believe that the answer that we got on the boards of inquiry are giving us any progress. I don't believe that we got any progress on the electronic procurement system. I don't believe that we've got clarity on whether basic equipment is now going to be available to our soldiers and that they are not going to be in the terrible situation, as we found many of them, where they have to buy their own footwear, their own boots, and other equipment. So I'm sorry, Chair. I don't find the responses that we've received adequate. And in general, I find it, and I repeat it once again, absolutely outrageous that this department can tally up a travel and subsistence cost of 134 million when there are places like Langevan Air Force Base that is literally falling apart. I conclude, Chair. We are now in a situation where Langevan is functioning illegally. In terms of aviation law, it should be closed down. And yet, we get responses like this. I repeat what you've said earlier, Chair. We need urgent help from the department and from everyone to deal with the way in which the SANDF is falling apart. And honestly, the 21st of February, Armed Forces Day, must be cancelled. That cost cannot be justified. It's not here for the aggrandizement of the current illegal head of the South African National Defence Force. It is not here for the aggrandizement of the senior leaders of the SANDF, who are the only ones who are going to get reflected glory from this ill-conceived Armed Forces Day. Thank you.
Honorable Shalembe, followed by Honorable Hatting and Honorable Nontenja and Honorable Plakis, in that order.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. Well, Chair, the report and the answers, are raising, more questions. Chair, let me look, at the issue of the unacceptable lack of basic equipment for our soldiers. I do appreciate, the allocation of the 64 million rand for that purpose. But at the same time, having the question that if, after the concern from the committee, this has been reprioritized, is there any possibility to get an answer if there was any budget for the same, for these, issues of the basic equipment for our soldiers? If there was any budget in the previous years, I'll appreciate if we are given an estimate how much was that as compared to that 64 million rand being given to the department now. Then, as we are doing our oversight last year in the province of Limpopo, well, this issue of a lack of basic equipment for soldiers was a thorn issue, and our soldiers were able to alert us how they were treated, in their deployment. And you could notice as they were presenting to us that they were demoralized and felt ignored and not being taken serious when it comes to their duties to perform there. I want to check here, Chair, that because I'm referring to those soldiers, who were deployed, in the DRC. I want to find out if the department has done anything to try and ensure that, their morale is regained so that, in future, we do not, see the same thing. In fact, we want to see our soldiers being treated, good, because they are, in fact, are the ones who are protecting us as we are sitting here. And imagine now being deployed to protect another country and they are not, being looked after. I just want to know from there that those soldiers, who survived the shootings there, if there was any meeting by the department to speak to them and get the moral back to them so they can continue doing their work. Chair, let me see. Another one, Chair, is the issue of that SNT, though it has been raised by my former my colleague here. Chair, if you look, at this amount, well, 134 million rand for just traveling. I don't know if the department is in a position to tell us of that amount, who contributed more for traveling to overseas. Maybe that, we'll be able now to see where, we can look at and focus that what is that is so important for those, who have contributed more to that expenditure. What is that important they were going for? What has the country benefited from that trip? I'll appreciate that. And then, Chair, I think it's going to be the last one, if I'm not mistaken. No, Chair, I think, for now, let me stop here and see if I can get the answers. Thank you, Chair.
Honorable Ate.
Thank you, Chair. And also thank you for the Department of Defense to respond to the BRRR issues. Chair, and I think you must also now determine how we're going to proceed with the responses to questions. There are some questions that's being put, although a lot of comments as well. Is it going to be verbally here, or I don't believe there will be adequate time to respond verbally. And yeah, we've got the 7-day rule that's normally not applied, but I need to know that we record all the questions properly, that we can get then later written responses. I want to say that up front. Thank you, Chair.
There's no problem. There's a directive from the whip that most of other things which will not be answered here, we must get written responses so that we can have the record and all the department responsible going forward, because
Chair,
we have the records of what we have decided, the responses we have made, and where you do not have responses. Even if we are to appear in court, we can show, of course, as this committee, what is left. So I think the point we are raising, it's correct.
Thank you, Chair. Then just perhaps overall reflection on the presentation done by the Department of Defense, which I find largely procedural and reactive. There's a lot of deflection in it to future processes and reviews. There's very, very limited evidence or reference to decisive action, outcomes, any outcomes, or even clear accountability, or even timely implementation of this committee's BRRR recommendations. And Chair, if you look at the spirit that is actually reflected, and you have emphasized cooperation between Parliament, this committee, and the SANDF. But if you look at the first slide, right at the first slide, it actually tells us what is the spirit in this presentation. I want to read it to you. Department of Defense performance status report against the Portfolio Committee on Defense, not to the Portfolio Committee, already a defensive action against us. We are your friends. We are your support. So, Chair, right there, the spirit actually leaked out. Chair, let me continue. I'm sure that was inadvertent oversight. You certainly should not be working against this committee. Chair, on the auditing of the Special Defense account, the response is basically that the department is waiting for the outcome of a meeting between the Portfolio Committee and the Joint Standing Committee on Intelligence, and then decisions flowing from that to be implemented by the executive authorities. No action by the DOD is forthcoming out of this report. Now, this is a serious deflection of responsibility. Nothing prevents the Department of Defense from engaging the Auditor General of South Africa and the State Security Agency directly. There is a problem with auditing. There is a problem with the Public Finance Management Act accountability. And this response avoids confirming whether any audit access currently exists over the Special Defense account. So, I would like to know, what formal engagements has the Department of Defense initiated with the Auditor General or the State Security Agency regarding audit access to the Special Defense account? It should be a simple response. And does the internal audit of the Department of Defense currently audit the Special Defense account? And if so, what were the findings? Then moving on to the defense policy, which is also a concern. Now, again, it's deferred to a closed session, but we need to know what policy documents are currently classified, or is that also classified, or were held from a public? And when will non-classified versions of these documents be released? Then also, who determines it and what criteria is being used to determine whether documents such as the Journey to Greatness remain classified? Submission of tradable asset register, it comes also a long time. Did the Auditor General accept the asset register as credible? And then there's also a link to this asset register. There's a long outstanding matter on asset register, and that is the Heritage Asset Register, that by law should have been submitted to SARA, South African Heritage Organization, some time ago. I would like to know, what is the status of the Heritage Asset Register? I believe there's some very valuable assets there, and I also have a fear that some control was lost over those assets. Then the question on question 4, the question of back to basics. The response is our reference to this in the BRRR was linked to the experiences, yes, on the border, on our oversight visit, but also with the reports coming from the DRC. The response actually only focused almost entirely on border safeguarding. It does not address other deployments, for instance, the SAMI DRC deployment. It confirms that certain essentials were only procured after the BRRR intervention. So, I would like to know for Mistral and other DRC deployments, were there specifically equipment procured? Are there issues, delivery issues, outstanding matters? Because we have to get that picture, the full picture on it. Then Gala, yes, Chair, Gala is the same animal with a different name. So the response is that it is under comprehensive review, including feasibility and contractual assessment. Chair, this is not a new thing. It comes from Tesano. It comes a very, very long time. It's the same problems, the same thing happening over and over again. So the response actually also sidesteps the public finance management processes. The Auditor General flagged irregular expenditure. The Department of Defense does not confirm whether he formally disputed the finding with Treasury. It doesn't say anything. So, and I know there's a problem within the Department of Defense on this. Now, was a formal dispute submitted to the National Treasury as required? And if not, why was the Treasury Instruction number 4 of 2022-23 not followed? Chair, going on to SANU, with 1.5 billion irregular expenditure coming a long time, what's happening there? Are there specific action plans? Our request was for specific action plans linked to the declared irregular expenditure, and the response is generic, despite that irregular expenditure has actually been reported and declared since 2021. There's no outcome. Has a board of inquiry been established? Is there any progress? Was any investigations done? Were any personnel responsible? Were any funds recovered? Which is a requirement in terms of the Act? We don't know, and the response doesn't give that. Chair, then moving on to the Board of Inquiry, which the Deputy Minister also in general referred to. Reference is made in the Department of Defense report of the November 2025 instruction, which appears to be issued to assist the process of board of inquiries. So I would like to know whether there was any result to that, and also that instruction be submitted to this committee immediately, so that we can also be on par of what is going on there. Singiza, we got extensive response on Singiza, but a few things remain outstanding. We don't know what is the outcome, a single outcome. What is the objective? So a lot of things have been said and been considered, but what do we want to achieve? Just one word. Do we want a military technical college? Do we want another university? Do we want upgrading of the mobilization center's equipment? What do we want? We don't know that. Why is that being kept a secret? Secondly, there's also a $250 million agreement between the Ministry of Defense and the Chinese Ministry of Defense. That should have been tabled. That was concluded in 2024. It has not yet been tabled in Parliament. I would like to know why not. It's $250 million is some money. I don't know. Well, it's less than it will cost for the Army Day, but it's a lot of money in our terms. Chair, I would like to know what do you want to hurry me up? Chair, what do you want to do?
Yeah, look, I wanted to release Honorable DM
Okay.
to and the whip, because she's attending the ad hoc committee. Yes.
I think we need to assist the committee.
Chair,
And
just a point of
also-
order, I'm still busy with my questions.
I'm leaving, sir. I'm leaving.
Okay. Sorry, Chair.
Yes. Switch off your mic.
I will do so, General.
Be governable, old man. There are problems you can see. That last year the department administration was asked these questions to respond. They have responded, but not in detail. What I'm suggesting is that, let me inform you firstly how we are planning to work this year in order to trace those sections in the department which are sleeping, not doing their work. Every fortnight, the minister and myself and the other deputy minister, we have asked that the commander of the SANDF and as well as the chiefs of various armed forces and the secretariat headed by the acting SecDef, Secretary for Defense, we meet on Fridays of that particular fortnight, where we are going to go and monitor the progress, including the reports or queries which have been referred to us by this portfolio committee. So part of these are going to be responded to, the points you have raised, and those which were raised by other members will be responded to it in writing. But at the same time, we want to run the SANDF as a group of leaders, not one individual or 3 people running the SANDF. So that is going to be the rule from this year. We could have even started last week, but because of the incidents, which have, because of what happened to the minister's family. So I foresee that there will be an improvement immediately after that. And also, you see, the culture of the Defense Force I'm used to. If you have issued an instruction or an order, it should not take more than 2 weeks, 3 weeks in order to get an answer. But we have inherited a system where you'll find that people don't even respond to the correspondence you have written. You have heard what the Auditor General has said, that the queries are just ignored. So that thing is going to be a thing of the past. And fortunately, I was privileged to have been invited in an extended Lekgotla meeting of the cabinet, where the president said if the ministers or deputy ministers and DGs are gatekeepers, they are not doing their work, the door is open. I guess that will also be cascaded to those who are leading. So all these Secretary of Parliament, please refer these areas which you want more information on it. And then we will table that, discuss them as a collective and respond properly. Thank you.
We'll release you, Honorable Dear, with the hope that we will work in improving civilian-military relations. We can't have a national defense force that defies the laws of the Republic, the status of the SecDef position. She has been acting for many years or many months outside the laws of the Republic. Now is the chief of the National Defense Force. Auditor General was here that they do not get cooperation out of 400 and something queries, which they raised with the department with the National Defense Force over the last 15 years. There's not been cooperation. The same with us as the Parliamentary Portfolio Committee, no cooperation. The allowances of military veterans are not paid. Their kids are running helter-skelter, not paid. Port of inquiries are not respected. The Hawks were here. The SIU, they also say at some point it looks like they're being intimidated, no access to some of the facilities of the South African National Defense Force. I raised this particular matter with yourselves, that part of the problem in the National Defense Force, it's not only underfunding, it's a general problem of ill-discipline. We can't have a force like that. You'd rather hate me, you'd rather not come to my funeral. I have to do my work here. I've taken an oath of office. I thank you. You are released.
We are under your command.
Thank you very much. You are released, Honorable Dia. Honorable Hatting, you can proceed.
Thank you, Chair. I've also been ordered by the General to proceed. Chair, I need, on this question 8 projects in Giza, I also need to know whether, with the lessons learned in Gala and Tusano, whether there are governance safeguards in place to prevent a repeat of Tusano and Gala. Then, Chair, the question of the S&T, which has become a major issue, and we also learned that for the Army Day, it's one of the biggest expense lines is the S&T to vendor. I think we need to get a breakdown to know how the non-operational S&T is actually being made up, how it's actually being expended. Chair, so what are the non-essential breakdown of the S&T overseas travel? We need to know that, and I think it will demand a special report on that, which should be done in writing, Chair. And the expenditure on S&T, which, Chair, has doubled in the last 3 years, is totally out of control. I would like to know if we also have treasury austerity measures, if that is being followed. It's a formal question, as well as how does this align with the Back to Basics Directive? That's all for me. Thank you, Chair.
Honorable Nonteja.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you for the presentation. Chair, it doesn't look as if there was any intention or willingness to address the recommendations from the committee. Starting with the first one, recommendation 1 says there must be an engagement between DOD, HSA, and SSA. If you look at the response, it's not even telling us whether that took place or not. I fail to understand why would they wait for the engagement between the Joint Standing Committee and us regarding oversight. Oversight on what if they haven't started doing what was asked? So DOD didn't address point number 1. We go to point number 2. It would have been prudent of DOD to say we are using this date, we are available on this date, not to leave a vacuum. But you moved the date, but you have no proposed date, which comes back to our secretariat to say we need to come up with the date as soon as yesterday. Chair, on point number 6, the question is about consequence management. On the 1.5 billion spent on Project Tusano, you are telling us how do you go about it, how do you do consequence management with your boards of inquiry. What we would like to know is, was consequence management applied on the 1.5 billion of Project Tusano, not how you do it. So that's why I'm really tempted to say there was no willingness to address the issues that were raised, because if this is what you're giving us the opposite of what we are asking for. On point number 7, you are requested to submit a written action plan. Your answers doesn't address that. So, Chair, my feeling is that they didn't address whatever was raised by this committee. So I would request that they go and give us something. Maybe they have this notion that we don't read, but not everybody doesn't read. if we ask them to come in writing, it has to be addressing the issues, not just writing to us something that is not addressing anything. It's disgusting, really, to say the least. Thank you, Chair.
Honorable Plugis.
Thank you, Chair. I really want to thank the efforts that were made by the department in answering us, but I also want to put caution. We shouldn't be confrontal when we deal with matters. I'm talking now to the Department of Defense. I've seen your presentation. I'm actually disgusted by it. The way that you are responding to us is actually confrontal. You want to fight with us. You are inviting a fight from the committee on most of the matters that you've raised here. You, as colleagues are saying, Chair, there is no intent to really answer the question, but actually to confront the committee on why don't you meet with this department yourself, and then we will come to you. It's what you are saying, but you are not saying it in many words. You just say, but the department, the committee must meet the counter committee before we can act, and not really answering some of the questions. I will really leave it there, Chair, but I think some of the things that let's go to Tusano. We haven't asked you to give us what you are doing now with your board of inquiries. We've asked you what consequences have you been dealing with there in the department. You give us, oh, now I'm asking a further question on this question and on this revocative response. How many of your board of inquiries have been successful? How many of them have been failing? So that you give us a written answer to that response. Because I really now have interest to see are your board of inquiries really functioning. If you say you cannot deal with consequence management because of the boards must be trained, they must be given skill, then give me how many of them have been successful, how many of them have failed. On the issue of on the electronic procurement system, you are saying that you've now sent a task letter to SITA. We have, Chair, have our own problems with SITA at DMV. And here at the Department of Defense, I asked myself, Doc, don't they know about the problem in SITA? That they are now referring their problem to SITA themselves. SITA is struggling to deal with the issue of defense. You are also now taking your procurement system there. In the meantime, what are you doing to mitigate the problems that you are having? Because if you are going to wait for SITA, it's going to be years. What are you going to do in the meantime, CFO, on dealing with the issue of procurement in the department? You don't have to answer it now. You can write it, give it back in writing, because something must happen, SAPTEC, in the meantime, as you are waiting for SITA. What is going to happen in the meantime? And that is the two clear responses that I want as a member of this committee, Chair.
Thanks, Chair.
Honorable Hala.
Chair, I believe that DOD internal audit does conduct its own audits. But my question is, do you do the same with the SDA? And if so, what were the most recent findings? Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, honorable members. Like we have been directed by our whip, we are no longer going to take verbal answers from you. We want written answers on matters that have been raised by honorable members. We want those answers within 7 days. You yourself, in your own reports, you said you are working against us as a portfolio committee. Now, as against, it means it's versus, it's opposition. That's what you mean by inference of your English. So we also want to create our portfolio of evidence against yourselves. So we will not take any verbal answer from you going forward. We want our evidence so that tomorrow, if you go tit for tat in any court of law, we can show cause, because we can't continue with this level of ill discipline. We can't continue with this level of propaganda, because on the 10th of July, 2024, we met with yourselves. We asked CFO, I don't know, you still remember, for an electronic supply chain process. We asked for an electronic human resource management. You said you have over 78,000 staff members at that time. Later it was reported that it's 72,000. There is no system which tells you out of the 72,000, if I can press Kundu in your system, it will show me the face, the first number, the rank, the position, a small CV or profile of the officer involved. We don't have those records. Even if somebody in Kimberley resigns now, it takes you 6 months to process that, because paper trail has to leave Kimberley for Pretoria. In the 6 months, while the person is at home, we still pay them salaries, because we don't have a system that can talk to each other. The Auditor General raised the issue of supply chain. There are 78 points of supply chain process in the National Defence Force, and all of them, they don't work coherently. A bread in one military base is bought for 20 rand, in another one for 50 rand. A liter of diesel in a particular military base is bought for this amount, in another one for this amount. There's a lot of things which are happening in the department which you are not addressing. So that's insolence. That's disrespect to authority. It cannot be the case. And that's why I've raised it in the past, even in all interviews. If somebody says the problem of the National Defence Force is underfunding, I would argue against that. Not only underfunding, there's also a problem of general ill discipline. And it has become a subculture now, to an extent that you are stubborn. You don't want to change. You don't want to appreciate what the committee is raising with you. Now that's a confrontation. And you forget that we have the authority to bring ad hoc committees, to bring commission of inquiries. Now with the Matlanga, 5 generals are going to be arrested in the police service. Is that what you want, that confrontation with the committee? Because our powers and your powers are not the same. We may be civilians, we may not be military in uniform, but we are an authority according to the Constitution of the Republic. So I don't know, is that the confrontation you want, or can we improve this relation? So I'm going to request again, General Kundu, through your senior management team of the officers, that we get a session privately with yourselves, as senior officers in the military, in terms of how best we can advise each other or workshop each other to find a win-win solution on problems we have in the National Defence Force. Because if you refuse to be accountable, that's insolence, insubordination in any employer-employee relations, or in any authority and subject relations. So we can't continue this way. I mean, it's even a declaration now that we are working against each other. It's written even in papers without any appreciation of the sensitivity of what you are saying in your English, unless I have to get my school fees back. Because when somebody says who's supposed to be subordinate structure to says against in a report, then it's a declaration of a confrontation. So I think those things are matters that we need to work on, so that we improve our relations with yourselves. Because we can take you, even on the appointment of the SecDef, it has been there forever. The BOI, we have received a report that from the BOI that even records are stolen from your offices. On the COVID cases, they can't continue. BOI came here. It reported to us that records are stolen. How do you steal from military headquarters or from military offices? We were told here by the BOI. So there's a general problem of discipline, including how we are likely to find ourselves. Please be advised, SecDef, and advise others. When you are a general in intelligence terms or diplomatic terms, you are a person of interest. Whatever you say can lead the country into a war with other nations. So it must be understood that when you are having forethoughts, you don't just get in any platform and say whatever you want, because other intelligence formations in the world are watching you, and unintentionally, to people like President Trump, it may mean a declaration of war, which is not declared even by the commander-in-chief. It may have been declared by one of our officers, unintentionally, thinking that you are correct, only to forget that you are a person of interest. You may lead to a situation where missiles are shot to civilians in South Africa because of your tongue. So other things, like Honorable Niels was saying, belongs to international relations. Ours is to defend the Republic, defend its people, defend sovereignty, territorial integrity, international law. That's what the Constitution gives to us. Other things are not in our space and ambit as the National Defense Force. So we are begging you once again, SecDef and the team, we are begging you for cooperation, because we have portfolio of evidence of letters we have written to you, of answers we have requested from you. We have also queries from the Auditor General about what they've raised with you for the past 15 years, and there were no answers. We have evidence of SIU, Hawks, and all other law enforcement agencies in terms of their outcry by failure of your cooperation to deal with this thing. So, unfortunately, we all have to save the National Defense Force. We must work with other. We are begging you for your cooperation. We are not supposed to beg you. We are an authority. We can take you head-on into the dry clean, and you can be subject of the courts of laws tomorrow. But that's not the route we want of confrontation. We still want to beg you to get the National Defense Force back to its glory, National Defense Force to a reputation it wants. On the Armed Forces Day, Armed Force Day anywhere in the world, it's a show of force and innovation and creativity. I still want to question, when I owe soldiers allowances of DRC, when some of them don't have proper uniforms, when some of our armored vehicles are standing without proper maintenance, when some of our buildings are cracking, they don't have proper walls, when some of our lawns can't even get a grass cutting machine. Why would we spend 372 million? And it is said in all media houses, and there's no clarity from the Defense Force in terms of what is the actual amount that has been put aside, because this creates hysteria and problems. I was asked by a journalist as the chair, why would you spend 372 million? I said, no, it can't be possible to spend such a lot of money. We have serious problems in the National Defense Force. Just from allowances, just from uniforms, just from maintenance of our buildings, maintenance of our armored vehicles, maintenance of our aircrafts, maintenance of our radars, maintenance of our frigates and vessels, and yet we spend 372 million on a fanfare, a party. Because if Armed Forces Day, it's a party by a simple language. Because putting armed force is when you show force. You have to show new weapons, new machinery, new aircrafts, and so on. That's what you do on Armed Forces Day. You can look around, even in China, in America, anywhere in the world, in France, whenever there's an Armed Forces Day, it's a day of showing, demonstrating innovation. What is it that is new that we are bringing on this Armed Forces Day? But it's a matter that we can discuss on another day. I'm only worried about the amount, if there can be clarity on that particular matter of the amount, so that I don't speak against you, like you are saying, you are reporting against us. So that we clarify that matter of whether it's 372 million or 172 million or 72 million, or what is the actual amount, so that there's no severity in terms of the expenditure. Because how do I justify somebody from DRC who's traumatized, has not been paid their allowances, and yet we spend such a big amount on a party? So we would request that we do that, SecDef. I can allow you maybe to clarify the committee in terms of the way forward, and when can we expect your answers?
Thank you very much, and good. I think it's good afternoon now. As the DM has already said, that it's better that we provide you with more detailed and comprehensive responses. We'll try to do that. Normally, it's 7 days. So if you can give us 7 days, we'll try to give more detail. But I must apologize if using against offended members. We are second language speakers. Some are third language speakers, and it's not the matter of because it was used deliberately to declare war. It's just one of those things. But English, I apologize for that if it offended members. We'll try to do it and run through spell check and propositions and all those things that are available to assist. But we apologize. It was not meant to be one against another. We are prepared to cooperate fully with the Portfolio Committee at all times. Thank you.
No problem. The apology is accepted. I'm sure members, you'll appreciate that the SecDef, as the accounting officers, apologized on behalf of the department against, because it may look like a mistake, but in our case, with the trauma of writing 124 questions to you, and out of 124 questions, only 42 were answered. So when somebody says against, it means insolence or insubordinations. So you'd understand, oh, that's why they don't answer us. That's what it simply means. So we don't want to exert our power. If we were to exert our power, I can tell you, you'll end up in court. So we don't want anybody to end up in court. We want cooperation and a win-win for the Department of Defense, because we deal with national security here. We deal with protecting the territory. And the sooner all of us appreciate, because throughout the world, all national defense forces are preparing for war. It's only in our case that we still struggle just to answer an AGSA query or a board of inquiry over COVID, which happened 5 years back. Until today, there's no conclusion on some of those matters. And unfortunately, we play an oversight. We have to ask those questions. But we appreciate the apology. We'll then move to the next item, where we allow Adjutant General to present on the bills.
Chair, again, if I may speak, the DM in his opening remarks already introduced the presentation, so I'll just let them continue as you instructed. Thank you.
No problem. If you, as an accounting authority, takes also the responsibility, we appreciate it. It's appreciated because a SecDef is an accounting authority. It's just like the chief. So we are worried that there is no substantive appointments of the both of you. So very soon, we will not allow you to come and present to this portfolio committee, because we can't allow, as lawmakers, illegal things to happen in the Republic when we have taken an oath of office to protect the Constitution and all laws of the Republic. Over to you, Adjutant General. Can you switch off the mic for record? The committee is being recorded at the back there.
Honorable Chairperson of the PCD and military veterans, honorable members of the PCD and military veterans, Secretary for Defense, and my colleagues from the Department of Defense, and I also to recognize Chief of Logistics. Thank you very much for the opportunity to appear before you in person this time to present the two bills, which is a Defense Amendment Bill and the Military Discipline Supplementary Measures Bill. So, Chair, I will definitely be assisted by my colleague, Colonel Mashiko, who will be controlling this. Sir, that is the scope that we're going to be presented. Will be they're having an aim in the background, what has been done, Defence Amendment Bill 2025, then stakeholders consultation, and the decision that we require from here. So our aim is to introduce the amendment of the Defence Amendment Bill 2025 to the PCD and military veterans as invited by this honorable committee. As a background, Chair, which has been presented to you, you'll recall that there was the constitutionality of certain provisions of the Defence Act, notably sections 101 and 102, in as far as the Board of Inquiry, convening Board of Inquiry, when the decisions were made by the sitting judge in court. Then the matter went through, from the Pretoria High Court up until the Constitutional Court, and the Constitutional Court indeed found that it will not be good for any executive body to challenge or investigate a sitting military judge, because military judges are judges are judges in terms of the Constitution of the Republic of South Africa. And the Minister of Defense, sir, was ordered to amend legislation within 24 months to give effect to the court's decision. And that period expires on the 19th of December this year. Then legislative amendments are proposed. These legislative amendments are proposed to comply with the Constitutional Court decision, as we said. What we've been, we have done so far, Chair, sections 101 and 102 of the Defence Act of 2002 have been amended by insertion of section 101(2)(a). This is meant to exclude military judges from any Board of Inquiry investigation when these military judges are performing their military judicial functions. Because the previous act was silent on that. The previous act didn't say they must, it was silent. Now here we purposefully exclude whilst they performing their judicial functions. Then the following section is hereby inserted in section 102 in the Principal Act: exclusion of military judge and senior military judge from the Board of Inquiry. You'll recall, Chair, there are military judges from Major to Lieutenant Colonel and senior military judges from colonels up, who said that court of sitting on the court of military judge and the court of senior military judge. So both those are excluded from the intervention of the Board of Inquiry on anything that emanates from the sitting on the bench. So we
can I quickly interject?
Yes, sir.
I get your point. I think when we deal with a reply, we will have to go back to what members raised on the new Board of Inquiry, that the implications of this court. Maybe we can do it in another day when you advise the department. What are the implications of this court order and directive on the current appointment of the Board of Inquiry of Judge Mwep? Because I see some contradictions against what the court, the spirit of what the court said vis-a-vis our action now. So our state law advisors, we have to engage them on this court case, because I think there's somewhere where we may be at cross purpose with the spirit of the outcomes of this case. But it's a matter for discussion for another day. I just wanted to follow whether I understand you correctly on the input you have made. Okay. Thanks, you can proceed.
So, thank you, Chair. We continue with the insertion of section 102A in the amendment. A Board of Inquiry contemplated in section 101 and 102 in the current legislation does not apply to a military judge or senior military judge referred to in the Military Discipline Supplementary Measures Act. Then because the judge and judges and military judges and senior military judges are reflected in the Military Discipline Supplementary Measures Act. Therefore, the two legislations must communicate. So this one become a consequential issue when we deal with Section 101 and 102 of the current legislation. Judge, next slide. So, Chairperson, we have consulted with all internal stakeholders and we followed all external legislative processes. And today we are before you with your instructions to be here so that we can put this thing forward for tabling. Next slide. As we were invited to come today. This is a decision that we seek. We seek for this honorable council to support and recommend to the departmental legislative amendments to the National Assembly and to the NCOP chair. So these are this is our decision that we seek. Before I step down on this one, Chair, we also want to thank you and your portfolio committee for the support on this legislative process. And if it was not because of you, I don't think we would have been here. I submit.
Thank you very much for your submission. I'm not sure is there any addition from the content advisor, any addition from the parliamentary legal services or way forward, so that we get clarity in terms of the way forward from here. But from our side as the committee, we are also happy that you are on par with the roadmap you gave us. It's very clear that from today, we will be left with final consultation process, tabling in Parliament and everything. So I'm sure those legal advisors here, led by Mr. Van Breda, will help us in terms of where to from now. And Dr. Van Rensburg, you can also come in. Okay, is the second one? Okay, go to the second one, then we allow parliamentary legal services to come in. Over to you.
Thank you very much, Chair. And without wasting time, Chair, this is our slide, and with your indulgence, the historical background is the same historical background. Without repeating myself, can I just go to the bullet number 4 of the presentation, sir? Thank you. Chair, what we've done. Firstly, it was what was an issue here. What's Section 15 and 17 of the Military Discipline Supplementary Measures Act with regard to military judges, and Section 14 just became consequential amendment as I dealt with when we presenting the Defense Amendment Bill. So what we've done so far, Chair, the Military Discipline Supplementary Measures Act 2025, amendment of Section 1 to include the definition of the committee, because now we presented the establishment of Military Judicial Committee, and that committee is defined in the definition. We also, there is an insertion of the clause establishment and the composition of the military judicial service committee and the related topics. The amendment of Section 14, as I've said, is consequential, 15, 17, and we rearrange this, the clauses. Then when it comes to Military Discipline Supplementary Measures, Section 1 of the Military Discipline Supplementary Measures Act hereby amended by deleting the numbering preceding to the definition. Those are the administrative issues. By inserting after the definition, commanding officer, the following definition. A committee means the Military Judicial Advisory Committee as established by Section 6 of this 6A of this amendment. Next slide. Then substitution of Section 15 of the Act. The following section is hereby substituted for Section 15 of the Principal Act, period of assignment. On this section, Chair, we will recall that the judge declared that the 2 years of assigning military judges is unconstitutional. So we put that a period not less than 3 years. And there's also the issue of the current military judges or military judges and senior military judges who are currently serving. When their assignment expires, there must be a cooling period of 2 years before they are reassigned on the bench again. So we dealt with that also in this bill, Chair. Next slide. So that is what we said here. We inserted that there must be a period, 2 years, and also there must be a fixed term, not less than 3 years. Next slide. Then section 17. Section 17 is substituted in the following ways. This section is hereby substituted for section 17, the principal removal from assignment. Then the removal of assignment, Chair and members, honorable members, you will recall that in the current legislation, a judge, military judge, and senior military judge may be removed from assignment by mere recommendation of the Adjutant General. And then we listed, is listed all along those things. But now the Constitutional Court found that it cannot be. There must be an independent body with independent investigation that will recommend for the removal from assignment of a military judge and senior military judge. We complied with that particular Constitutional Court requirement, Chair. Then with the exception of officers contemplated in Section 1, the Minister of acting upon the recommendation, this is what we said now. We said we have complied with that. Next slide. This is a reading of the when we establish the Military Judicial Advisory Committee. That judge, you'll recall, Honorable Chair and honorable members, it will be led by a retired judge of the High Court. Then it will be independent from the minister, from the executive, in make recommendation to that. And based on that, there will also be regulations that deal with how a person moves from where he is to the to appear before the Military Judicial Advisory Committee, his name, if he has to be the judge. So currently we're busy with such. The functions of the advisory committee, remuneration expenses. The remuneration expenses, judges retired are paid for life, but there may be members like we find that there is an advocate or an attorney on this who is not paid, so there will be expenses on that. And then the term of office of the committee is also dealt with there. Next slide. Then, as I've said, we dealt with consequential amendments, substitution of the word in section 14 of the Adjutant General with the word committee meaning the Military Judicial Advisory Committee. As we did with the other Defense Amendment Bill, we followed all internal legislative processes and external, and we sent the document to Oxley for pre-certification and final certification. Then also, Honorable Chair and Honorable Members, we humbly or kindly request that your Honorable Committee to support and recommend the Departmental Legislative Amendment of the Military Discipline Supplementary Measures Act to the National Assembly and the National Council of Provinces. I submit.
Thank you very much, Mr. Van Breda.
Thank you, Chairperson. In respect of process, so the next step would be for the department to respond to all the public submissions received in respect of the two bills. The members will, of course, then engage with the department. Legal services, we also have our own views in respect of the proposed amendments in the two bills, so we will share our views as well. I think it's probably preferable for us to share it with you in writing. So we can then present an opinion in respect of any concerns we may have in respect of the two bills presented. After that process, Chair, we will then start with the clause by clause process. Before we start with the deliberations, there would have to be a motion of desirability on the bill. So that's in accordance with the rules, so that the committee will have to decide whether the two bills are desirable. So that would then be recorded in the minutes of the committee. We will then proceed with the clause by clause deliberations in accordance with the rules. So both bills will basically be dealt with at any particular meeting. So we will go through each clause of the bill, and the members will then engage. Members will obviously ask questions and raise their concerns in respect of any particular clause of the bill, and obviously either make a decision or pass a resolution to agree with a particular clause, or raise their concerns, or propose amendments in respect of a particular clause. So once a bill is in a committee, the committee has the prerogative to propose amendments, because it's the committee that needs to pass the bill, to approve the bill before it goes to the House. So we will, of course, assist the committee with amendments. We will take those instructions. We will work with the department as well in respect of amendments. We'll draft what is called an A list, present that to the committee. If the committee is happy with the A list, we will then incorporate that into a B bill, and that will then be presented to the committee. And Chair, that's all from me in respect of process.
Chair, from our procedural side, thank you to our colleagues for running the committee through the process. We captured that process in the proposed committee for the program. So, Chair, I'll stand down, and in the next agenda item, when we consider the program, I'll just take members through the program, which includes the aspects that they just mentioned.
Thank you very much. From your advice, it's clear that we can't start discussions today until we have received a consolidated report on the public comments. Maybe some were done online. We still have to get that report. And at that stage is then that the portfolio committee will engage the report. So I'm sure what is left? Consideration of minutes.
Consideration of the program and then minutes, Chair.
Okay, the two outstanding items are in committee. We can then release all of you so that we remain behind as the portfolio committee. You can have an early lunch.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. We are calling for cooperation. 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 We don't want Madlanga, we don't want Lehwete Commission or other committee. Your cooperation. General Kundu sent a message to headquarters and the chief. We are calling for cooperation. Cooperation. I don't want to end up in court with you. CFO, don't forget the electronic HR and supply chain. Dr. Willem Janse van Resberg. I'll hand over to you before we deal with minutes to update the committee on the program for the first quarter. Over to you.
Thank you, Chair, and good morning again to all members. Just to run through the proposed program, members, for the term, primarily the instruction always from the House chairpersons and for Parliament is that legislation takes priority. So that is the priority for this term. In addition to that, the committee is under a bit of pressure from the Constitutional Court to run this process through Parliament. And once we finish with this process, there's still a long process for this bill to go before it can be assented to. So this is the NA part of the process that this committee will do before it goes to the House for consideration. And that's why it's crucial that the committee finalizes this piece of legislation within this quarter. So the proposed program was then, with limited slots available in this term, was then for today for the bills to be introduced, which we have done on the 4th. Then next week is NA members table, so there's no availability for a committee meeting. Then the next meeting will be on the 18th of February, where there will be a presentation on the public submissions on the two bills, and then departmental responses to the public submissions. So we already received the public submissions. That date is closed, and we started to advertise it last year in December online. It was also ads in various newspapers in all the official languages. We received the public submissions, and it has been shared with the department. So we will make a summary for members of those public submissions, and the department will then respond to the public submissions as well on the 18th of February. Then on the 25th of February is the motion of desirability on the bills, and then we start with clause-by-clause deliberations on the bill, and that flows over into the following week as well, which is the 4th of March. So 2 days are allocated for clause-by-clause considerations on the bill. Then the 11th of March is then the presentation of the A list of the bills, and on the 18th of March is the consideration of the B bill, the two B bills then. So, Chair, members, that is the proposed program. I suspect that this last meeting, for example, perhaps the 11th, but definitely the 18th, that will be a rather short process once we get to the B bill. So if members, that would be one of the meetings, for example, where if members wish to have the department back to elaborate on the BRRR that we had today, that could be something we can include there, just as an example. But in terms of overloading the program, I don't see much more space to add many more agenda items, except maybe for the 11th and the 18th. But Chair, that's the focus area for this term. It's fully on the legislation, and I'll hand back to you for any further input.
Honorable members, that is the program for the first quarter. The last item in the first quarter there is the study tour. I'm not sure how far and how many of us are in the first trip. Hello?
Should I respond to you? Chair, so for the international study tour, the final signature is required, which is the speaker, but everybody else has approved. Nandipa is running that process on the joint standing committee side, and all members who are on the list have been contacted. So we have all the passport details. We're working on all the administrative arrangements for the study tour. Although there's one signature outstanding, it has in effect been approved, and there will be communication with I think it's 10 members that are going. So Nandipa is speaking to those 10 members on the side, but it's in progress, Chair.
Okay. Honorable Ala, Honorable Montana.
On the very same issue, if you are on this first group, does it mean that you won't participate in the second group?
Honorable Montana. Oh, okay. Can we get a mover and second of the program?
No, I
All
asked a
right.
question, Chair.
Okay. You are? You? Okay. Oh, yeah. Doctor?
Chair, the composition of the contingents that go abroad is not in the purview of the Secretariat. That is for your parties to decide who goes. So when there's a new opportunity in the next, hopefully in the next financial year, when we can schedule another study tour, then we will put it forth to the committee, and then members themselves can decide who goes on that.
Honorable Niels?
Now, I just want to understand, Chair. What it means then is all we know is the way in which this particular delegation is confirmed, and we cannot at this stage judge on the future delegation because that is going to be in the hands also of our various political parties. And I think we can, as far as I understand it, that's where we can leave it. Thank you.
Thank you. Honorable Not-Danger moved, Honorable Black is seconded. We'll close it at that.
Thank you, Chair. If we will further liaise with our legal advisor, should there be any further requirements to the program, in the future meetings we will inform members and we can adjust the program if need be. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, thank you very much. We can then move to the last item of the consideration of minutes of the 29th of November. Honorable members, we have minutes of the 29th of November. It's 3 pages. It's actually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's actually 5 pages. Honorable Atte? Yes, the 26th of November. Yes, honorable members, can we go through the first page, the second page, the third page, the fourth page, and the last page?
Chair?
Any matters arising? Okay.
Chair, the third recommendation, resolution, actions by the committee. Armscor must supply a detailed breakdown of all public funds paid to Denel for Project Hoefyster compared with the contractual obligations. That needs to be timelined. Otherwise, it's just going to hang in the air.
So what is your proposal on the timeline?
What is reasonable? Say by the end of February 2026.
End of February, okay.
Before the end of...
All right. Okay. Any other matters arising? Honorable Blackies?
Chair, just on that one, I agree that we must now put our timeline in it. But remember, Dr. Van Rensburg, you must just help me. We've said that they must come back. That is the final resolution on this meeting, actually. The meeting went to something else. We said they must come back. So I think for the program that we are having now, I think it's proper that we put a date in it to say that on the 26th. But that was not our decision. We've said they must come back in this beginning of this year. Leave now the program that we're having, but we've said they must come back as soon as possible.
Okay, Honorable Atte?
I agree with Honorable Paikis, but I think was that not the decision on the next meeting that we had, where we had the tussle between Armscor and the Navy and said that they must resolve the issue and come back to us. I think that's the comeback thing, and not on this one.
No, Chair. I think I confused the 2 meetings. The second one is the one where we said they must come back.
Okay, I'm happy that there's a meeting of the minds in terms of what we resolved. So can we get a mover and a seconder? All right, you saw the hands. It was overwhelming. The second batch, it's of the 3rd of December. This one is not that big. It's page 1, 2, 3. Yes. Can we get to page 1? Page 2. Page 3, which is the last page. Any matters arising? Honorable members? Honorable
That's
Ati?
the comeback issue, and that is actually the minister that should come back, but that should also be timelined on both the recommendation.
Okay, so what are you suggesting?
I would say, let's make both the end of the 28th of February, by 28th of February.
Both of them end of February.
27th of February, which I think is a Friday. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, understood. It's taken as that. Any other matters arising? Can we get a mover and a seconder? Yes. You'll take that record. That brings us to before. Okay, I see two hands. Honorable Niaus and Honorable Nontenja.
Sorry, Chair, I don't want to delay us unnecessarily, but you will recall that I raised the issue and we agreed that we will include it on the agenda on dealing with matters and statements that were made during the recess period and just how we deal with those. You remember I raised the issue of the matter of Iran and also other statements. You made some statements. I'm not attacking those statements, but I want us to discuss the status of those statements so that we don't unnecessarily, when we were not in a situation where we had committee meetings where we as representatives of parties could have stated our case, then unnecessarily outside the committee in various situations express conflicting views. So you said you will respond to that in terms of the powers that you say and believe you have, and I just wanted us to deal with that procedural matter. Thank you. I don't know if it's clear. You look a bit confused.
No, it is clear, but my point is that earlier on it was agreed that I need to write a report according to the way forward from the whip. So,
If you feel that's covered by that, Chair, then I'm happy to leave it there.
yeah, so that I clarify the points I've raised. Honorable Nontenja, Honorable Atting, and Honorable Plakis.
Chair, I just wanted to request that on the program, I think Doc said towards the end, there was a day that we don't have much. If we can look and see if we can accommodate item 2 of the BRRR thingy, because they moved it for their parade, but it's not allocated anymore. So if you can find space for it in your program going forward, thank you.
So, Chair, through you, ma'am, do you refer to the presentation on the policy documents, that one?
Yes.
Okay. That one is being processed through the Joint Standing Committee of Defence. But if we have a date, we are finding a new date for that. Once we have a date for that, it also affects the work of this committee. So once we have a date for that in the Joint Standing Committee of Defence, we will also extend an invitation to the members of this committee, such as yourself, Chair, who are not part of the Joint Standing, because it's crucial for all members to be present. But we will communicate that date once it's found.
Honorable Atting.
Chair, we also briefly discussed it outside. I do not know how I and all the other members should formally communicate with you on an issue. The email address that I've used, the parliamentary, the official one, apparently is not working. So I think that you perhaps should provide to us on WhatsApp or whatever your formal email address where we can communicate with you on issues. I have sent you 3 emails, and I don't believe they have been responded to. Thank you, Chair.
Point noted. Honorable Pluggies,
Chair, I'm covered.
you're covered. I think on that note, this brings us to the end of the meeting. I think on the Joint Standing Committee, there's an outstanding meeting of our committee with the Joint Standing Committee on Intelligence on the matter of special defense account that we have to sit on so that we prepare for a possibility, preempt the situation before the new financial year starting at April. Because I'm sure from Treasury, because they've topped us up, they would want to reinstate the special defense account. So from the AG, we're expected to deal with the issue of accounting measures, the auditing measures, and that guideline we need to be guided by the Joint Intelligence Standing Committee. So I think if we can get back to that when we deal with the program or amendment of the program, or even find a special day where we can meet with them to respond to the request by the Auditor General of South Africa between ourselves and them to find models and methods of how the special defense account can account to the AG, because apparently officials of the Auditor General were not allowed records of the special defense account. So we need to get those guidelines running and in order so that we deal with it. Let me take this opportunity, honorable members and the support staff and the entire team from our secretariat for the meeting today, and thank everybody in absentia who was present here today, including the Honorable TM for being part of our meeting. We hope to meet again when we deal with other business of the bills we have put through. And I'm happy that so far the department has complied, because we had our doubts initially that whether they would comply, but so far there's serious progress. That at least has led to even online submission by the public. So we'll see them in the submissions from the public, they will be presented in our next meeting. I'm sure at that stage we will engage. Where possible, those submissions or whatever report that is there, if it can be forwarded to members so that they read it on time and raise their questions for the meeting on time, so that by the time they come here, we just go through and sail through those submissions and reports from the public. Because it's very critical, especially I'm interested on the BOI appointed by the minister, including the guidelines from what the court expects from us. There's somehow a contradiction, but we can raise it in that meeting when we deal with public submissions. Thank you very much, honorable members. The meeting stands adjourned. Thank you.